Welcome to Age of Empires 4. We're kicking off Season 11 here with the House of Lancaster in the south against the French in the north on Hill and Dale, who kind of live in the low conch range here. Interested to see here we have the original civilization of the French by Nitro, and the recently nerfed House of Lancaster, played by Carl here. So interesting to see here because this is a map, Hill and Dale, that is pretty defensible. House of Lancaster can play very defensively, but we'll see how they do with these new nerfs. You know, there were a lot of frustrations with House of Lancaster when they came out. And you know, on the one hand, I got it. I could see why people were frustrated. But people often always complain, right, about the new civs. Oh, they're OP. They're so easy. You know, they're turtling, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really get it until I played a game against a guy who I could not understand what was left for me to raid. Like, I couldn't find anything. Only later did I see the Song with Beasties quotes about the same thing. And I looked at it afterwards, and the guy had been gold every season and was now at like high plat, having played Lancaster last season. So that kind of, you know, nothing like a bitter loss that you don't want to explain by your own bad play, is confirming that, yes, this civ is OP. But we'll see. Two good players here. For the French, we're probably going to be looking at that early raiding. Sometimes we see the Council of Commerce come out. It's not a terrible map for it. The trading post is not all the way in the corner. I don't know if this was a deliberate change or not. It used to spawn a little further back. But it's still pretty good, very defensible trade you got. Good sheep haul for the French. I mean, good sheep haul for the House of Lancaster as well. With that extra gather rate, you really want to make sure you deny as many of the House of Lancaster sheep as possible. Yeah, again, probably not going to see Chamber of Commerce unless France decides that's their opportunity to outboom. But no, it's going to be the School of Cavalry, so going to try to take an early bite out of the economy as the Lancaster Castle comes down. And this is a pretty ideal spawn for House of Lancaster. You're looking at protecting this whole side entrance, the stone, of course the gold. It's going to be hard to get around. So entrance point is going to be better off if they can scout it out. You're going to want to come in through the north. Now, this hasn't been identified yet. The French player has yet to really see the multiple entrances, what the options are, doesn't know the location of the age up yet. So that's going to make it trickier for them to know how to break open this can. Going to the perspective of the House of Lancaster player, they are still presumably looking for sheep. It doesn't look like they're concerned about anything else. Likely just presuming those knights are going to be coming out any moment. So it's imperative that you start getting on. Now it's interesting here, we don't see them moving on to stone yet. A number on wood, but if they're going to get those manors up, you need stone, you need wood, and they don't have them yet. Still collecting gold. We don't see a barracks down yet, so maybe still optimistic that they can ride out just by sheltering civs, as now we see the placement of the stone. And the French player begins to come around and see the base, sees that the House of the Lancaster Castle is going to make it harder to get it from that side. And the first knights should be on the way shortly, as they are. Rallied simply to the front of the base at this point. So, if you're House of Lancaster, I think there's two basic ways you play this. One is you just hope for the best. You cannot garrison in the Lancaster Castle. It's pretty much its only major weakness. Oh, scout action. First knight is out. And is making a beeline for the entrance to the Lancaster base. So, a couple hundred stone have been mined out here. So the first manor is able to come down The second one should be able to come out pretty shortly. They're going to go for the opening 3, which makes a lot of sense, but now the scout accompanying. Going to try to find out how to get in. And they are going to come right around under the Lancaster castle. Dangerous approach here because the castle won't be able to do too much to the knight, at least initially. It's not up yet, and they're going to get the first villager. 1 hit. 2 hits down. So the first villager kill of the game is complete. No second knight coming out. France might be going for a second town center of their own here, which is a great approach. You have that faster villager production. You can try to keep up with the economy of the House of Lancaster that way. So something we sometimes see from the French, but sometimes we really only see one-trick ponies in the lower leagues. But not at the Conqueror level. You'll see a little bit more dynamic gameplay here. France has the stone, a little overtuned, and doing a good job spreading the deer out around where they want the second town center to go. Great timing there, really smooth. Got knew the space they needed. Really well played here by the French. France now coming around, going to try to keep Lancaster in their base. Looking at the stone, it's going to be a little too late. Lancaster has the stone they need, and they're vacating the premises. France is going to come around and not see that there's not too much around. Sheep get knocked out. So at this point, you know, the economy for the two players pretty close to each other, but we already have 4 more villagers in the French economy working. The 1 villager kill, the 2 town centers. Walls coming up here to provide a little coverage. I like this. A deflective wall makes the knight have to run in closer to the town center. Switching perspectives, they don't see the knights coming around. They might have seen them around the wall here. Now coming around, House of Lancaster is going to defend. The villagers pull back from getting up that 3rd manor. Condensed land practices. I believe that was one of the technologies that had to be. It was nerfed. The cost went up. Lancaster scouting out the option. So France is really just booming here, trying to get to the castle. I think we have 8 villagers, no more production, going into a range, going into a second stable. Good to have that second stable. A protective wall coming in to protect that wood line, their flanks. Premature. You know, there's nothing in the Lancaster base that can attack. Except, you never know when they're going to muster the nobles or Shire Levy. One of those acts that can, out of nowhere, bring a lot of harm to your base. A second knight comes out now. It's going to chase away the scout as these villagers are headed to... Where are they headed? This boar. And I think this knight is going to tank up the boar damage here. You know, not a bad little use of it. I don't think chivalry's in yet, but they're going to be able to take out this boar pretty easily. You get chivalry in, you'll be able to repair that knight's health. Obey you. And there we have it. So really good little food source here. Pretty vulnerable location, and House of Lancaster did see it come out. And for all you want to say, as we see now, that additional manors are able to come in. A range and barracks coming in. Range is interesting. A range is obviously to take out the presumed archers. While House of Lancaster has not, I don't think they've scouted out. The scout runs away. And I don't think, they're presuming that the archers are going to be made. So the archers are to handle the archers of the French. The barracks. Now you do have the Beelman upgrade, reduces the armor of enemy units, so that's very powerful. A good, I want to say, well, it's a hard counter. It's definitely a hard counter to the French, to any knights, to any armed cavalry. Good eco coming in here, pretty hard running to castle here. There is a little more, a little, not so much food in the base. Interesting he didn't go into the, oh, they did do a professional. It's good to see that they went into survival techniques, allowing them to gather faster from the deer, faster from the boar. There's another patch of deer out here. So able to get that food. Now, what does France get from getting to the Castle Age? Well, you get upgrades on your knights. It's not a huge deal. You have the access to the guild hall they're going for. I actually thought that they would be going for the Royal Institute, maybe leveraging their knight presence. They're playing the long game, knowing they need the economy, or at least banking on the idea that they need a better economy to compete with Lancaster's passive income throughout the game. You can use this to get a whole bunch of food, drop that food, and go up to Imperial. You can use it to get a steady gold trickle coming in. We have a new blacksmith coming up, or I should say the first blacksmith coming up. So, major economic advantage here is in the hands of the French. 38 vills to the 57. Yeomen out. Spearmen out. Hardened spearmen. 5 spearmen against 5 Royal Knights. They're not going to be able to compete 1-for-1. And now a defensive white tower coming in here. You know, I don't love this position. There's not enough room here to put farms around it. If you put the white castle, excuse me, the white tower out here, you're protecting, or maybe over here, you're protecting a whole farm eco that you can have running in the back here. Here, it's a little scrunched up. I mean, you're protecting the last half of your 4K gold that you started out with, but that's it. So, not fantastic placement here. Obviously, they're able to get the additional production speed. No. Here I am thinking they're the English. They do not get the added production, so it doesn't provide you the flexibility. Not going for the College of S's, the unique landmark to the House of Lancaster that gives you extra technologies, especially your cavalry, but not going for a cavalry comp here, going for an all infantry comp. Earl's Guard joining the fray, and they're going to start trying to pick apart the French army. The yeomen can pack a punch. So now, both civilizations in the Castle Age, food being collected by the French. No farm transition yet for the French. Now more stone coming out here, and I don't know if this is going to be for defensive buildings, for stone, maybe long-term trade. We already have this side fenced off, but not with stone walls. Could be going for another town center, could be going for a keep to try to procure a good little defensive posture out here, protecting a goal, protecting a sacred site, protecting the flow towards your base. A monastery out for the French as well. First relic is coming in. No monastery, I don't think, for our House of Lancaster player. Playing it very clean. Now it's coming up on the south side of their base. And they have just mustered the Lobles. Veteran Demi-Lancers out here. So large army. More production buildings coming out. And the House of Lancaster army does look formidable at this point. Demi-Lancers, 150 health, 10 sword attack, 14 lance. So obviously it's a lot less than the 230 health of a knight, the 26 sword damage, the 36 melee lance damage. So it's not nearly as formidable as a force, but it will allow them to get around and get onto those archers if the micro is sufficient. Technology is in for that extra armor piercing. France is gonna just pick up on that monk, and they're sending the whole force. You don't need to send the whole force, just send the monk. Or sorry, just send the cavalry to the monk. Gets the message. And that one's going down. France, from their perspective, already has one relic in. Another monk is heading down here to the south central relic. And France's production here is not going to be able to keep up. They're seeing this army. France is going to charge it, but they pull back immediately, realizing this might be a little too large. So far, House of Lancaster still looking pretty strong. The forward production going to be targeted here. Does get the benefit of that keep. The answer to what the stone collection was for has been answered. Going to give the discount to the cavalry and archery units produced. Knights going down here. Bailman technology on the spearmen. Billman, excuse me. The Earl's Guard doing work. Yeomen haven't researched synchronized shot yet, but they don't need it right now. The work on the back line has been done. Crossbow, spears, a little more help coming in here. The French army is going to hold. Crossbow is going to do some damage here. Some knights are able to sweep in from the back, rip up those reinforcements. And France in a strong position here. With the Demi-Lancers summoned, you've really played some of your bigger cards as House of Lancaster. And too soft of an army coming out here. You needed more spearmen to handle just the overwhelming power of the French cavalry. Checking in on the guild hall, up to 800 food. I don't think it's been pulled yet. Farms coming in the back for the French. France also not yet having gone for their agricultural or horticulture upgrades. France gets those cheaper. You're going into farms. It's one of the few economic benefits you really get. Picking up more stone, picking up more deer, getting that third deer pack, or sorry, second deer pack, and France has moved forward. Lancaster on the berries, a dangerous position, and they're falling back. And the House of Lancaster is looking rough. More production coming down on the front line, but it's not going to stop the Knights from running around through the hole in the wood line. White Tower getting its first work in, and it's not doing enough, not against a full Knight push, dive under the base. French archers coming in, looking for soft targets they can peel off here. Yeomen, spearmen. The defense is going to hold here, but not after a lot of damage was done. Three villagers down now, and the French are looking at twice the economy. And, you know, if twice the economy, yes, but, you know, you look at the food production for them. You have over 1,000 for the French, 600 about for House of Lancaster. Wood is almost tripled for the French. Gold, 1,200. So right now, town centers are beating the ability. You have a lot of villagers here transitioning, building farms. Probably want to get a few more farms down, get off these berries, start making that transition more complete. Something to wallop in the front. France, in the meantime, looking like they're really in pole position here. Keep coming down, their second keep of the game. Gonna secure this gold, gonna get the forward production that you want to see. With that discount that the French are able to get, and now units streaming down. France just pulled the food, so they're able to age up now. They have the resources to go Imperial. Now, they could go for the... it's common to have people go for a Red Palace. A Red Palace could be amazing at securing some of the other big resource nodes. 2 golds and a sacred site over here, for example, stands out. This flank, as we see a Lancaster monk coming out. But you could also see, and it is going to be a Red Palace, I was about to say, and you already see the production coming around it. So, yeah, protecting a sacred site, protecting a large gold, having forward production. I was thinking you might want to go for the College of Artillery, just because you have the strong fortifications of the White Tower, Lancaster Castle, the buffed manors. That getting that stronger siege out could be a huge benefit, but it's not going to be the case today. Guildhall has now been swapped over to gold, playing this really well here. Gold harder to get, not committing to trade yet. So this is going to be a major gold source if these forward bases fall, but that's a big if. Nice big French keeps here. Still haven't gotten the boiling oil upgrades. And the fourth keep coming down. Wow. Excellent map control coming out here. Lancaster army sees the age up. They don't know where the French army is, but they know where the age up is. Villagers are going to be able to hop inside. 4 survive to get it up, and now the French army is going to come try to take care of this force. A small numerical advantage for France, but a huge value difference. French archers working the back line, but it's the knights doing the heavy work. And now the absolutely tattered Lancaster army is running back. And it feels like this is a very hard position. Lancaster has not been able to get on the field, have not been able to secure fresh resources. They see the French army taking a breather, going to recharge their health a little bit. Relics ended up going 4-1 in favor of France as well here. So France is incredibly well situated for the late game. Here, we have a case. France is not losing the buildings. A lot of stone coming in here. Looks like they're heading straight for a keep. The keep is not quite what they need. They need the resources to be able to get the troops out onto the field and not strong production coming out here. A couple of yeomen coming out here. But we're not seeing any spearmen being queued up here. Now it was a town center, not a keep coming down. They still have 250 stone in the bank here, so going to try to catch up on the eco. But a tricky position here. This town center has no resources associated with it. You're not protecting anything new. Barely have room even for farms. You're going to get the 4 sheep out of them, as the Lancaster buff will have it. Now, Karl playing this smart, trying to figure out what they can find on the map, if there's anything they can pick off. But for want of a scout, they don't know that there's not much out here for the French to give up. I would love to see, small thing, would love to see these villagers out on one of the more forward golds. Save the back gold that's relatively safer for when you really need that. Now more stone. Stone mining coming out. Not stoning. Please don't stone anyone. Royal cannon out. Large French mass building. Lancaster, unawares. Army out of position. Senses maybe something. Sees one knight. And the army coming straight down the middle. Heading straight towards the White Tower. Knights diving under. Royal cannon firing off. France sees with the position of the army and goes to cut it off, protecting the cannon, protecting the archers. And they're going to use these knights to absolutely demolish the Lancaster mass. And that's it. Good game is called. Beautifully executed there by the French. You know, I think we could see a bit of a weaker momentum there. So Lancaster isn't able to quite get as much juice out of the orange as they used to. Now, at no point, I mean, Lancaster had a larger military counter in that earlier engagement, but it didn't have the value. Resources gathered, you can see that just nothing, you know, that French town centers, 2 town centers producing villagers at that faster rate, really snowballed really beautifully well here by Nitro WAP. And with that, it's a WAP here. Love it. Well, happy season 11, everyone. Thanks for joining.